Starting up a restaurant can be exhilarating and rewarding, but remember, restaurants are businesses first, and food is merely the product for sale. Successful restaurants are generally not the result of pure luck. You need to know how to run a company. John Taffer is chairman of Taffer Dynamics, a business that consults with major restaurants, nightclubs, and hotels worldwide. John hosts Spike TV's Bar Rescue, which returns for its second season this summer. Stephen Starr is the owner and founder of Starr Restaurants, a fast-growing multi-concept restaurant business with 26 properties, including Budokan. Frank Gratella is a co-founder and principal of Landmark Hospitality. He owns and manages several venues, such as Liberty House Restaurant, which is inside Liberty State Park in New Jersey. Great to see all of you guys.
Great to be here.
I talked to you guys a little bit about this before, but you must get the question, I want to open a restaurant. How do I do this all the time? Because it's a passion for so many people, food. And what do you tell them, Frank?
Well, usually you try to gauge their passion because it is a difficult business. But if you love what you're doing, obviously, it helps a lot and you tend to be successful. So I tell them that they should really build a good team around them. I think that's important. An accountant, especially if it's your first time in the restaurant business, I always advise somebody to do a break-even analysis, your pro formas to really know what you're getting into and what it takes to generate revenues to cover your expenses.
Not just what it takes to make good food. John, you go in and you revamp a lot of bars for your show that are having troubles. What do you see most? What's the problem most people have?
Well, I step into a lot of failures, as you know, JJ. So often when I walk in, all the serious mistakes have been made, which makes them hit me between the eyes. A lot of people want to open a restaurant. They have a passion for the front of the house, for the social experience. They envision running a fun place, almost a showbiz aspect of a restaurant. Where I find the problem is in accounting and controls. Most people get into the business of envisioning the front of the house, the fun part of the business, but they don't do the numbers. They don't crank the financial controls. And as Frank said, do their performers and all of those numbers that protect their success.
And I love that, Frank. The first person you said build a good team around you, and you said build your accountant.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, we asked. Oh, go ahead.
So I would tell the person something different.
Okay.
Because pro formas and accountants and all that seem very foreign to people that are passionate about what they do. I would first tell them to make sure that your idea is awesome. And the way I would do it, and the way I did it when I started, because I didn't know what a pro forma was, it was that I would vet my idea and I would analyze it, I would pick it apart. I would take this notion of what this concept is, beat it up, come up with a list of why it wouldn't work, and if in the end the list was greater for the pros, then I would attack it. I believe, and this goes against what you would think that I would say to you, that if you build it and it's fantastic, they're going to come, and you'll figure out the accounting stuff later. All right, just make sure you budget it right in your construction costs.
Let me ask you guys, we put this question out to Facebook. We are Facebook fans. We told them we were doing this show, and we got a couple of questions. So I want to ask you the first one. This came from Dennis, who wrote, I want to open a restaurant and have almost everything down from how to interview and hire to the name, the logo, the marketing idea. He has a question concerning pricing. Is there one formula to figure out the retail price of a dish plus account for overhead such as utilities, facilities, and so forth? What do you think, John?
Well, typically food cost runs about 30%. Operations that push it can get it down to 27, 28% of food sales, but you're not going to get a food cost to run much better than that typically. But there's also an issue of value. Guests have perceived value. When a plate hits the table, what's it worth to them in perception? And then there's absolute value. If the restaurant across the street is selling a hamburger for $8, it's going to be difficult to sell it for $12 if you don't have a better perceived experience.
And Steve, I just want to follow up on that. This is about brand too, right? You could sell the same thing for one price or another price depending on what you want your brand to be.
But to answer his question, the Facebook question, your pricing is based upon what the food costs, not you don't add money in for air conditioning or for uniforms. That comes out of your overall gross sales. So when you price something, you price it based upon what the hamburger costs, what that egg cost, what that piece of lettuce cost. And your expert said, it should be anywhere from between 26 and 30% food costs.
All right, let me get to another question from Facebook. Linda wrote, does offering local foods give a competitive advantage, or is it only the taste and pricing that people look for? What do you think, Frank?
Well, I think that customers want to patronize a facility, a restaurant that they feel represents them. So I think in today's world, I think it does help. But more importantly than that, I think if you're sourcing locally, you're forced to use in-season ingredients. So it keeps the kitchen team motivated. There's constantly changes, which also the front of the house team gets to share with the guests. So I think there's a lot of importance to it. We actually, at one of our facilities, have a farm that, all our staff participates in helping to maintain and grow. And it gives them so many different talking points with the customer.
John, if somebody is thinking of starting a restaurant right now, is there a resource that you send them to?
There are a lot of resources. SCORE is a great one. Retired business executives who can be supportive. Other restaurateurs can be extremely helpful. There's great chef consultants who can help you build menus. Great bar consultants who can help you put together fantastic beverage programs. But the key point is that, and I think the guys would agree with me when we looked at the piece on the triple concept, every restaurant that's successful really is typically known for something. Mm-hmm. She had one restaurant known for hamburgers, another restaurant known for chicken, another restaurant known for liquor. When you have an identity like that and you build it around a hamburger or fried chicken, you better darn well have great chicken. And typically that requires some real hard work in the test kitchen developing a product, or your home kitchen. But if you're not passionate about what you're selling, the whole thing falls apart right from the get-go.
How important is location?
I think it's very important. I mean, I've been in locations where we've had rent of 40%, more of a concession, mm-hmm. and you're generating the volume. Obviously your pricing adjusts for that type of rent.
Right.
I find that I typically look for now unique sites. I'm more into waterfront locations or conversions of estates into restaurants, and I think others look for high visibility, high traffic. I think it's very important.
My instinct and my heart is to find locations that are off kilter, a little off the beaten path. Now, that's not always intelligent. I've been wrong about that sometimes. But I like things that are not on the corner of Main and Main, a little off, so that you feel a little different, a little special about where you're going.
What do you think? You've started so many restaurants, Stephen. So if you had to say one thing that the successful ones have had, what do you think it is?
Incredible concepts and an unbelievable perseverance on our part in making sure the food tastes the same all the time. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people come up with great ideas, open it, and then they have to maintain it. And maintaining the food quality is the most daunting thing any of us have to face.
What about you, Frank?
I would say consistency in staff. I think customers like the fact that they'll recognize the same faces in a restaurant. And I think if you could build consistency in your kitchen team, it also shows in consistency with your food. So I think staffing.
And John, I'm going to end this with you. If you had to give one warning out there for somebody who is interested in starting a bar or a restaurant, what would it be?
Capitalize yourself well, because if it's your first time, you're going to make a few mistakes along the way, and mistakes cost money. Make sure you have a few bucks to last a little longer until you achieve profitability. And the most important part of a restaurant is connect. Connect with your marketplace. Connect through your employees. Connect through your products. Connect through your branding and your marketing. If you connect, you'll be successful.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Really interesting talking to you. And congratulations to all of you guys on your success. It is a tough industry, and you've all done really well in it. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, JJ.